All right.
There's that
Here we
smile.
are. Week 51. 51. And we're on another gold streak going on. So from one gold streak to another. So we've got our Viognier vertical tasting. So from 17 to 19 here. And we're just so excited about this today and got a great, lovely panel today. We've got uh, Dr. Richard Becker with us today. We got Dr. Joseph Becker. We got Margaret. We've got John Leahy, our winemaker. Brett Perdue, our general manager, and assistant winemaker Rachel Fanning, and myself, Bobby Totten, assistant tasting room coordinator here. And we're just so excited to share these beautiful wines together with everybody today. And I'm just going to hand it on over to everybody just to kind of uh, say what's on their mind and then enjoy these wines tonight.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. We're getting one more week, and we'll have done this for a full year. Um, so if we get through to the full year, Doc's promised to give us each $1 million bonus. So
Hey.
Apparently he can't hear that.
Court of Justice.
So Doc, Joe, would you like to kick us off?
Just to put it in the perspective that this is in, which is this terrible pandemic, and this is a way to communicate with people who like our wine, is a little separation, a little celebration away from all the battle against this virus, and just to remember that we have to do everything we can to get rid of this thing, vaccinations and social distancing and hygiene. But it's been an amazing year, and I think I feel very lucky that we've been able to have these weekly escapes. Joe, do you say something?
I would just say, I think one thing to say is that I think, Dan and I are obviously, we're both physicians, and our greatest concern when this started was just trying to keep everybody here safe, our employees, our staff, and I think that Brett and the team out there have done a great job of, as we've felt more comfortable, slowly reopening to reservation only and still giving people a wonderful experience, but just trying to keep everybody safe. So that's what I have to say.
Perfect.
We appreciate that, by the way.
We do.
We greatly appreciate y'all's efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Rachel, it's the 2017 harvest, and kick it off for us, if you wouldn't mind.
All right, you want to kick off the 2017 harvest again?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, it was kind of big. It was kind of
Yes,
big.
it was.
First, I would like to say that people ask me all the time, what is my favorite wine? Favorite, hands down. It's always the Viognier. I love Texas Viognier so much. And so I'm super excited about today's vertical tasting. And now I forgot what you asked me. You want to talk about the 2017 harvest?
A little.
A little.
What were your impressions of the harvest?
So it was a good year. It was a good year for the harvest. It was a kind of a rough weather year. For those who don't remember, off the top of your heads, that was the year that Hurricane Harvey came and dominated, let its presence be known in the state of Texas, plus the whole Gulf. Fortunately for the wine industry, it created a nice weather pressure system over the high plains that allowed the weather to warm up during the day, cool off, and no rain. And we had a glorious, bountiful harvest of amazing fruit.
Oh, we did. So the 17 Viognier, everybody, I want y'all to give it a good sniff and a taste. And we have an extra special guest this evening that leads expertise in many different fields. I tried to get her to do a fake French accent, but she won't. So, Margaret, I want your impressions of the wine.
Oh, I love this. I love it. I love it. This fruit forward taste that I have right now, it's just fabulous, and it's got a very almost robust kind of taste to it. It's nice and full bodied. I think this goes with a lot of different foods, and I think this alone could be tell it all.
Fantastic. Joe, what do you think of the Viognier, sir?
We lost your audio.
Oh, yeah, am I back? I'm sorry.
Hey.
Am I back now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hear you loud and clear.
Yes, as best I can tell. Yeah.
So, Joe, what are your impressions? We're going to go the doctor's Becker, and then Bobby, we're going to have you kick it in, and then we're going to give Rachel a lot of pressure to give a full description of the wine.
Well, I would just, I always just, since we're talking about Viognier, I would, we were the first vineyard in Texas to plant Viognier, and they were some of the very first grapes we planted. It's that story I always tell to kind of teach Dad a little bit about Mom and I planting grapes. We were planting Viognier, and it's and with the idea that the climate in Texas, or Dad's idea, the climate in Texas was very similar to the Southern Rhone, and you now 2015, you think about, so first you think about the fact that we're sitting here drinking gold and double gold winners. 2015, the Lyon tasting in France with 3 Texas wineries entered 3 Viogniers, including us, and against all the great French Viognier and Rhone houses, we won gold. The Texas Viogniers won gold, silver, and bronze. We took silver. Amazing story. We don't, it's something we try to talk about. It represents the Paris tasting for Texas in a way, I think. And then now we're tasting we're about to taste some double gold and gold. So that's the introduction I would give.
Perfect.
And of course, I would say that this grape has had an amazing performance on the planet. Originally from Dalmatia, brought by the Emperor Probius when Rome was in charge of France, probably in around 231. Planted in the region where it's done so well, the Upper Rhone Valley. Named for the city of Viognier, which is at the very top of the Rhone, just below Lyon, down to 8 acres, maybe planted in the United States, 8 acres in Condrieu in 1965, and since it's had an enormous resurgence around the planet. Not only Texas, but certainly California, South America, Australia. Lots of places have kind of rediscovered this great grape, and it's fun. It was down to 8 acres at one point, and just in the last 50 years, it's come back to a very extensive.
Yeah, it really has.
So,
Did you, Doc, comparatively, did you prefer the grapes from Dalmatia, or did you like them when they got into the Rhone?
they did okay on transplanted. You had to be there, John. It's one of those things.
It was an experience.
So,
That's
Bobby, before I get fired,
Some stage faster than others, John. Some of them have wider hair than others.
exactly. So, Bobby, would you like to give us a tasty description, and we'll get everybody's impressions?
Yeah. No, definitely. This is a great wine. It's just for me, it gets me excited for spring. Definitely a lot of floral notes on the aroma, and not just for spring, but for Easter. Just like the floral characteristic. Just like it's kind of setting me up for seeing the wildflowers and bluebonnets in the area and all that fun stuff. So, and the poppies that are going to be coming out, but definitely always get like a kind of a honeysuckle on the aroma, a little bit of honeycomb characteristic, some orange blossoms on the palate. Definitely the white stone fruits, some apricots, some white peach, just beautiful. And then that little hint of that vanilla on the finish. It's beautiful. That subtle French oak that just kind of sneaks in there right at the end. I just really enjoy it.
So, Brett, what do you think of the wine?
One anecdote I want to add.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
I
I
guess
think
what-
that what I remember about 2017 was that we picked about 120 tons of Viognier. It was a lot. That year we brought in right at 3 million pounds of grapes through the winery, and then we also bought about I think 60,000 gallons of bulk wine from that vintage that was made in Texas that we brought in from for some of our other programs. So it was a huge year. But anyway, this wine, I mean, this is our go-to white wine. This is the one that I think that if you ask me what, somebody asked what your signature wine is, I think that it's for our white wine for sure. It's been Viognier. And these guys, when we got to pick this flight, we had just got the award. We just got the news that we won the 2 double golds at the current competition, and it was a pretty easy choice to put these 3 in the lineup for this week. And I think this has been one of the most popular shipments too for people. So hopefully there's a ton of people watching. And anyway, but as far as the wine goes, I think the balance of what I talk about, alcohol, fruit, and the barrel program, which you guys can talk about more. We're on my phone and my computer's right here. It's locked up, so I can't get the blend sheet that Rachel sent. But John,
right here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go off camera for a second so you don't see my fingers while we're typing.
Right. Well, in that regard too. So the blend on here was from the Wilmeth, Bingham, and Farmhouse in Canada vineyards. Now, there's a tiny amount of Canadas do not grow Viognier; they grow Chardonnay. So there's just a couple percentage points of Chardonnay in this particular blend. When we were doing this blend and coming up with this blend, we tried it with and without. We went back and forth a couple times, and decided ultimately to put that few percentage points. I think it's 5% of Chardonnay into the blend. But then so a vast majority of Viognier with just a touch of Chardonnay, which really accentuated the floral characteristic of this wine to me. So Rachel, what do you think of the wine itself?
Oh, this is, Brett said that this is our go-to. I don't know about everybody, but I know it's my go-to white wine. I have consumed quite a bit of it. It's been one of my favorite Viognier blends that we've put together, even though I think always our Viogniers are pretty amazing. It's no secret that our Viognier program is, it's kind of a big deal for us. It's something that we stick to. We don't stray far from what we're going to do with this. The Chardonnay was a nice surprise that year. And you're right, it just added a little balance to it. Maybe even a little subtlety to some of the Viognier, and maybe calm down some of those really bright stone fruit notes. But sorry, my brain is like bouncing all over the place with so much that I want to say. I can't keep it. I can't like focus on one string of thought here. The barrel program is predominantly always French. We do bring in French oak just for our Viognier every year, plus a couple of other items, but absolutely for the Viognier. I know this one, I'm pretty sure that this was a 100% French oak, whether it was brand new or neutral, but all French oak this year.
But I also understand that redheaded cousins enjoy this wine too. I'm teasing my cousin. She's on the feed right now, and I swear to you, we have to name a barrel after her because that's how much she drinks. She loves it.
I'm a redheaded cousin, and I.
So, plus I have to give her a little help. But so Doc or Joe or Margaret, anything to add to the flavor profile or the tasting notes on this particular wine?
The one thing I want to say, we're just remembering our experience trying to make this happen, and that is that when we started to make this, Enrique Farrell was sort of our wine advisor and winemaker, and George Ray McEachern from Texas A&M was our advisor, and I said I'd like to plant Viognier, and he said, no, you don't plant that. Nobody knows about it. People can't even spell it or pronounce it. And I said, yeah, but George Ray, if it's good, I love it. And we had kind of discovered Viognier just by tasting the wine from Chateaubriand from Condrieu. And so, but anyway, we pressed ahead. But it's so exciting to see 3 incredible gold medal winners from the San Francisco Wine Competition for 3 vintages of Viognier. We've never had that experience before. And I'm really proud of it.
But we are all very proud of it. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry?
One other point is that as much as we love Viognier, apparently the Texas sharpshooter loves it even more. And
Yes.
every time we tried to plant Viognier, we had a severe dose of Xylella fastidiosa and adios Viognier plants. But we didn't give up. We tried 3 times. And
Can I one up that here? So the first person to really love our Viognier was Robert Ladami. He
after we did.
after yeah right.
Yeah.
Dad tells the story better about the dinner, but the punchline is that he in an auction in Austin bought a bottle of our magnum of our Viognier for $5,000. After he had, I guess, quizzed you for 2 hours about making the Viognier and trying to see if you actually made wine.
Which we did. But the $5,000 never goes to us. It went to charity.
Yes, charity.
But the representatives from Republic tell me that Magnum was on his sideboard for the next 15 or 20 years. He kept it in his office. I don't know why, but I've heard reports that it was there.
Wow. Well, he probably had to hide it from his wife, who was a big Viognier fan. So.
Yeah.
All right. If there are no other thoughts, I've been looking at the comments, which everybody can see, so no real questions about it. But according to Gary, Wikipedia says Dr. Becker might be 2,600 years old since he saw the initial planting of the grape.
I frequently feel that way, yes.
I think his brother had a hand in writing a Wikipedia article.
Probably.
So, Doc, was it really hard to make the papyrus?
It's easier than you think. Yeah.
All righty. So
Well, let's get Margaret.
No.
Yeah. Let's get Margaret to comment on the subtleties of taste in this wine. Margaret, what do you think?
What am
I agree. Let's put Margaret on the hot spot.
I think I am tasting apricot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet. And maybe a little bit of peach in here. And the honeysuckle, I think I've got that. I taste that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Forward, I taste that.
Okay. I'm really enamored with the florals on this particular vintage too, because I get a little bit of a blend between orange blossom and gardenia on the nose before I start swirling it.
Yeah. What flower? This has a lot of the aromatic you expect from Chardonnay. I mean, it's
true.
There may be a little bit in there.
Hint of
Just a hint.
How about Chardonnay?
That's very nice. Okay, so we're going to give Caitlin a workout on typing in the background because we're going to switch over to the 18. If you haven't noticed, we've been able to put the blend comps in the scroll across the bottom of the screen. So I think that's very nice. So if everybody wants to grab their glass and give it a swirl. Yeah, so I know a fair number of people when tasting think that when we say floral, it means sweet or residual sugar. That's not the case. It just literally is the blossom or the smell of the flowers that we described. So Brett, you want to lead off on would you like to lead off on the 18, sir?
Yeah, so we've, we always get in trouble for this when you put 3 glasses of wine in front of us. We tend to skip through them pretty quick,
Mm-hmm.
We don't follow the rules, and when you're tasting, I remember the one time that we were at the first Riedel tasting I ever was at with Doc and Bunny, that we got yelled at over the microphone by Mr. Riedel because we smelled through our wines and tasted them too soon. I've already done that, so I can tell you that this is my favorite, the 18 of these 3. But I just think that when I try this, it's a little fresher, and we haven't even released this yet. So if you guys got this in your shipment, it's one that we have been kind of holding back for a while because we have the 17 as the current vintage. And I can't remember. I think we put it in the next wine club shipment, but to me, this is a little softer, maybe, and it's like notes, and I really like it. So that's my comment, I guess. And I'm looking at the blend comp, so I'm kind of cheating on that too. So it's 48% of the farmhouse and 25 Jet Wilmeth and then 27 of the Bingham family. And again, historically, what we try to do when we do these blends is that John will present us each one of those wines individually, maybe, and we like this blend the best, and that's kind of been historically what's happened on Viognier. We try to let a single vineyard kind of show, and sometimes it works one year, but historically, I think that the reserve program has been a blend of at least 3 of the vineyards up on the High Plains.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, the Bingham and the Farmhouse Viogniers both have been very instrumental all the way through the program, and Jet's Viognier is just stellar.
It's outstanding.
Adding a really nice dimension to that. So, Bobby, what kind of descriptors would you put under the nose, and then give us a little bit of flavor profile?
No, I have to agree, a little bit brighter on the nose. I get like a little minerality out of the nose as well. But on the palate, it just seems a little richer on the mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that that rich kind of that mallow fermentation, that kind of that creaminess characteristic. Just, it's beautiful. I think I taste a little bit more of the fruit here than the floral characteristic, and then a little more of the oak is kind of, I don't know, more subdued. I think the oak sneaks up a little bit more in the 17, whereas in the 18 it's kind of a little more in the background.
Yeah. Rachel, what do you think?
I think I'm allowed to talk now. I agree a lot with what Bobby's saying. I think one of the things that's pretty fabulous about this is just the predominance of that fruit and the viscosity on the mouth. It does have a nice, really lovely creaminess to it, where I think the 2017 was a little bit sharper.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I would add I think one of the things I think you're getting at, Rachel, that I feel like is just 2017 and 2018 was such interesting harvest years. We talked about 17, and then we turned around and had 2018 where we had a very hot early summer, spring, and I remember we had kind of smaller clusters, but more fruit or more skins and juice concentration. And I feel like a lot of these 18s are getting a lot more of that fruit expression.
Yeah, I agree. I think the 18 is also much more viscous. It does have that indicative oiliness to the, that weight on the palate. You'll find. So, Doc, what do you think? And then Margaret, we're putting you on the hot seat again here in a second, just so you know.
What I'd say to Margaret is that I taught English at the University of Texas before I went to medical school. We used to say compare and contrast something in 3,000 words. Margaret, if you compare and contrast the 17 and the 18, that would be good. What do you think? What about the differences between the two?
What I noticed the most is how smooth this is. It's little of the creaminess and the oily, but it's so enjoyable that I'm crazy about this one.
Yeah, can
Fabulous.
you believe it's 14.8% alcohol?
I was noticing that.
Yeah, John, this is probably as good as Viognier can be. I mean, it has everything that I'd ever want to be Viognier. But I'm excited to taste the 19, which is coming.
55 out of 55 judges agree with you from the San Francisco tasting.
John, how much oak in this blend?
Well, thank you to Rachel, our wonderful assistant winemaker and person who keeps things running for us. I have a handy dandy little oak chart here. Rachel, I have to agree. This is awesome. So you put this like,
I love
yeah.
it. It's a little thing I found in our database, and I get so excited. I'm like, to pull all this information together.
Yeah. So
But
it
don't
only
give
has.
too many. Hey, don't give too many secrets away. Be vague.
Oh, be vague. Okay, it's got 4% new oak.
It got a little oak.
Yeah, it's not a lot of new oak. So this is an 18 vintage. We have 2017 and 2018 barrels. So the 17 were used once for one vintage. So between the two of them, I got 2% oak from 2017 and 4% oak from 2018. And then the balance, we got mostly 91% from 2015, so very neutral. So it's very little new oak on this particular lot. I had to use a lot of it on the Sauvignon Blanc.
Wow.
And how much?
Which I think is pretty noticeable since we've all discussed I just caught that.
Uh-huh.
Caught that. Yeah. You mean the new Chablis?
Yeah. Wow, that was not me.
Wait.
Anyway,
Train them up right,
given
right?
the viscosity and the mouthfeel, I think it's surprising to see that there was so little oak on it.
Right.
It was in so little oak.
The question is, what percentage was actually in barrel, and how much malolactic for the 18?
So we have not brought up that there's about 5% of Roussanne in here, and 2018. I don't actually have the malolactic on this spreadsheet. I should probably put it on there.
Well, just says fermented on mallow. It doesn't say percentage of.
You scroll to the
So probably.
Let's go
left.
So it did go through malactic.
So it's really a French Viognier. Yeah.
I would go out on a limb and say that of the malolactic, probably most of it was from the Roussanne. There might be some of it that was Viognier. We typically don't put all or even half of our Viognier through malolactic,
Right.
but often the Roussanne does.
Well, and some of these Viogniers too don't have a lot of malic to begin with.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's very easy to prevent them from going through malic. But that also adds to that nice.
When they just don't have it.
Yeah. Well, but when you talk about putting wine in brand new barrels, that's when it's going to go through mallow. It's going to start no matter what you do to it, unless it's very, very low.
Well, lucky for you, you have me, and I can do a lot of prevention.
You can, absolutely. Yeah, that little bit of protein from egg whites, and boy, howdy, it doesn't want to do anything.
Whip it up.
But we're supposed to be vague.
Secrets.
Secrets, exactly. So, Margaret, besides having you compare and contrast the two vintages, what is your opinion of the 2018?
I love it. I'm crazy about it. Honestly, I think it is. This is the kind of wine that I reach for a lot of things. So if it's to drink alone, if it's to go back with something as simple as different as cheeses, both creamy and hard, but also even if you're putting it back to meat and to Asian, some slightly spiced Asian dishes, it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You can't miss on this. It's when in doubt, and for people who have not tried this Viognier, I would love them to, because I think that you'll see what a treat this is. All your guests, all your family, everybody.
I mean, I think the cliche. I agree, Bart. I think the cliche, the red wine drinker's white wine. It has Viognier has such incredible body. And as far as it can hold up to a lot of all kinds of foods and cheeses.
Absolutely. I'm getting a hint of tarragon in the nose. It's almost wanting to be mint, but it's more tarragon than that. So,
yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think so.
Which makes me think of a Béarnaise sauce, and now I want beef. So, Oh,
Sounds good.
that is really nice. So, what was the first year Becker made Viognier? Brett, do you know the first vintage year?
96.
Well, the first time we planted it was 96. We didn't
90.
plant it. I mean, we planted in 93, so the first harvest was 96.
96.
And, we didn't plant with the initial planting, even though of the sleep story. But 90, we planted in 96, and 93 first harvest 96. And that, gosh, when we made it all in barrel, John, 100% malolactic, not a lot of filtration, bottled it, and you know, is trying to follow the French paradigm of the less you do, the better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's sort of relatively true. But it was, I think, Brett, that soil is a fabulous place to grow Viognier. And we might experiment one more time now that we're able to deal a little better with Pierce's disease, and just as an experiment planting.
He still does math with an abacus, John.
That's right.
That's a varietally specific story that I tell.
I get you close. Nobody gets everything right. I think Probus uses an abacus. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. The Emperor Probus, 231.
Well, we still have a few vines out there.
Yeah, there's like 20 of them in the Cabernet.
Right.
Not with the Simeon?
Hey, Simeon's in with the Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, Simeon's in Sauvignon Blanc.
I know
I
where
thought
they're
it was
at.
with the Malbec. Isn't there? There's some in the Malbec. The front planting of the Malbec.
Not the Petite Syrah.
No, the Malbec on the other side of the Petite Syrah.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of vines out there.
We got after
Sorry.
after we lost the first Viognier planting, we planted Chardonnay on that site in the front where the Petite Syrah is. And that was the first gold medal we ever won. We won a gold medal in the San Francisco wine competition with Chardonnay grown in that front vineyard. And that soil has got something to be said about.
Well, we could plant Viognier, or we could just plant more Petite Syrah.
Petite Syrah does very well. All grapes do well.
I think I've been drinking a little bit because it looks like Joe's got a cauliflower growing out of the top of his head.
Logo. That's the logo.
Yeah, it's the logo.
Tattoo is my new tattoo.
It's your new tattoo. Oh, hey there, Kaylin.
Yeah. That means Kaylin helped.
Yeah. Right on.
Actually, I'm trying to fit in with that white hair.
That's good.
Good luck.
Well, or you can fit in with no hair. Oh, now is there a dog lapping water?
Right.
I don't understand the question. Okay, so anybody else want to add to? Has everybody had a chance to talk about the 18 or add their opinion? Opine, as it were. Okay, shall we move on to the 19? So after we do this third one, I would love to have you all think about which two of these you want to compare and contrast individually.
That's why you love English teachers, John. The questions like that.
That and the fact that I don't speak English, but American.
I think it's pretty amazing that Dad's a great position. He's done a great thing in the Texas wine industry, but I still think the thing he's most proud of is his master in English from the University of Texas.
Could be. I'm proud of my family. That's what I'm proud of. The truth.
I tell you what, the first couple of years I worked here, sending him an email, I would get them back corrected. Because I'm the world's worst speller.
Hey, no, you're not. I can beat you at that.
That's what I love about Brett. He is competitive. Yeah, they are very different. All three of these are very, very different. You're right, Ann. They are very different wines. So, Joe, would you kick this one off? The 19.
Sure. Boy, so on the nose, I still think I get a little bit. It's a little similar to the 18.
It's more muted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, this
there's yeah. There's, I mean, you get the characteristic stone fruit on the palate, but it just, the 18 is just so, complex, and it's a tough act to follow.
Yes,
It's
both
just a
of
good
them.
wine.
Yeah, both of them are double gold winners.
That's right.
Yep. So the 19 is 100% Viognier.
What's the alcohol in this?
So, Bobby, what do you think?
14.3.
So definitely a little brighter on the nose.
I can tell you I'm drinking it out of the wrong glass. I ran out of my Somm glasses. They've disappeared somewhere in the chaos. So I poured this I was in a hurry and grabbed a Bordeaux glass.
Nice. Well, I got our universal
Yes.
tasting room glasses. So yeah, definitely the floral characteristic on the nose. But on the palate, it's just so much fruit. It's just a really, really bright fruit. I mean, I'm almost getting like citrus notes on the palate, which is it's so cool that each wine can like contrast different different notes, and it's so cool. But yeah, just a really bright, fresh, crisp characteristic, and that citrus is just maybe almost like a Meyer lemon, kind of in there. But it's just a beautiful wine. I love it.
Rachel, I wanted to look at your blend comp that you sent.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you have the blend comp that you sent?
I do actually, right in front of me. You mean this one that says it's 100% Viognier? Solid, no mixing, no anything.
Look at the breakdown.
Yes. So it is about 80% from the Bingham family vineyards.
Right.
It is 20% of Jets from the Diamante Dobley vineyards and 20% from Reddy.
Really?
John,
For real?
80, 20, and 20?
I want to put,
80, 20, 25.
John, I want to put you on the spot. What do you taste? What do you smell?
Look at that. Somebody didn't check her math.
Oh,
Did you add something to this?
I know. Look, Joe, the whole thing I was getting at with her, I'm the one who makes the math problem error inevitably. I'll always come up with 120% blend. But
The effort that we put into things, John, 120%.
it's 80, 10, 10. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks, Excel.
Yeah, right. No, but it's wonderful. It's all high plains. It's a great, it's absolutely a wonderful wine to really showcase the high plains. I'm sorry, Joe, what you were saying? I think I interrupted you.
I just think this is, I don't want to say, it's almost a little bit of a perplexing, but what are you tasting? What are you smelling in this wine? I don't know if my palate's a little muted from the 18 or,
Now, with this particular one, I get a lot of citrus. I actually, when I first poured this, I couldn't figure out if it was grapefruit and a little bit of herbaceousness. It literally made me think of a Paloma. So the grapefruit and tequila drink, because I could smell the alcohol when it was first decanted. Kind of hit, even though it's lower in alcohol than the 2018. But it certainly is. The body is slightly lighter, so I'm getting a lot more of the citrus and citrus floral notes. but there's a fair amount of herbaceousness, and that's what I love about Viognier, because it's either on the edge of mint or tarragon basil to me. That's what I most closely associate it with.
John, this is primarily stainless steel, no mallow, lactic fermentation in this. Any
Yes,
barrel addition to this?
Yes, there was 7.5% new oak, and a couple of, we have it broken down by year for the first 3 years, and then anything older than that we call neutral. So, and then about 88% neutral oak. It did go through malactic fermentation, but again, I know the ready was stainless steel fermented, so that did not go through. That 10% did not go through mallow. The Bingham and the Jet were both in barrel.
It's quite good, boy.
It is delicious.
So one of the things that I think is interesting is we look at the Bingham, and it's 80% Bingham and 10 and 10, or 20-20, depending on when you look at it. That's the barn vineyard and their old place vineyard. So those are some of the like original blocks that the Beckers contracted through the Binghams, and they actually planted them because Dr. Becker told them he wanted more Viognier. And I remember that they tell the story that they went to the bank and they said, "I have a contract from a winery in the hill country that'll allow us to, plant Viognier." And if you ask Cliff Bingham, that's the story that he tells. But these are some of the oldest vineyards that Bobby Cox was the consultant for them back in those days. And the vineyard block at the barn at Bingham's is the one that they planted around the pivot. So it's got a hook in it. So when they have to drive the tractor down the road, they have to kind of make a kick to the left to not run through the vines. And it's one of the oldest blocks, and they've done a lot of work to kind of keep that vineyard I guess alive, and they spur pruned it one year, and then they cane pruned it the next year, but it is one of the oldest. And then I think they cut it down to the ground and then let it come back up after the, I think, 18 harvest. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
So they've worked a lot to keep those Viognier vines for us to be able to buy.
And
I would add to that. He's been sorry, Rachel, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking, talking to Cliff, and I can't remember exactly how long it is, but I want to say that these are at least 13 to 15-year-old vines. I'm pretty sure that's when the first contract went back for the Viognier. Your turn, Joe. Go.
Right. Oh no, I was just I always want people to meet their growers. If you've not heard about the Binghams before, Cliff Bingham's a wonderful person. He's father of 13 children, 11. Sorry, his wife Betty.
Rounded.
Yeah, well, it's that whole abacus thing.
And maybe two don't know about.
Oh dear.
but I think that story that Brett tells is wonderful. About. I mean, I think you did have a contract with him before he planted grapes.
I did. We did that with several of the growers. So yeah, great. So I did it.
Okay, so which one out of the three, rank them? First, second, and third.
Oh no, I've got to go pick up my son from soccer.
Well, enjoy.
So you're not quite right. Okay.
He's not lying. He really does have to go pick him up.
It's gonna happen. All right.
Doc, how would you rank these?
Margaret is somebody just.
Sorry.
He's starting with you.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Joe left.
Yeah. Yes, but it's your name on the
I think that 18 and 17 are the best of the three wonderful wines. They're different, and I like the fruit expression and the kind of the purity of the 18. The 17 is a more complex Viognier for me. More like what you would get from an old bottle of 2017 Condrieu Viognier.
Mm-hmm.
And so
we got
The 19 is simpler, but it's also a delicate, beautiful wine. I mean, any one of these I would love to have served.
Yeah, we've got
anywhere.
two people who voted 18, 17, 19 in that order of preference. I mean, and to reiterate, the 18 and 19 both got double golds this year, and the 17 was a gold medal winner. So they have very wonderful wines, each of them in their own right, absolutely. Bobby, how would you rank?
I agree. 18, 17, 19.
Okay.
It's just, I mean, hands down. But I take them all the time. So
But we got one 17, 19, 18 with one person, Betty. I personally think 17, 18, 19 in order. I like the 17 a lot, but I tend to like a little more maturity in it. So Rachel, what do you think? What's your vote?
I love that I just heard you say you like maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm not
17,
mature at all.
18, and 19 as well.
In a wine.
Yeah.
Not joking. I'm sorry, say that again. What was your order?
17, 18, and 19.
Okay.
Although really with the 18 and 19, I love just how different they are. And they're just very, I think, equally good. The 17 is hands down my favorite. I
Okay.
absolutely love this one.
Brett?
Oh gosh. So when we decided to do this vertical, we actually sat downstairs and went through them just to make sure that, like, I mean, are these wines, what order should they go in and all that kind of fun stuff. And I still like the 18. I don't know why. And I think it's mainly because I'm a little bit biased on the fact that I like that little toned down version of it, with, the smoothness that it is, and it's the mouthfeel. But I would go actually, I don't know, throw up the, throw the dice up. They're all good.
Right.
It's like, and I tell people this all the time. People ask us all the time at the winery, which one's your favorite? And I do say it's like my children. It depends on how they're acting, and today they're going to act different than they did yesterday. And, that kid that I got, that daughter, sometimes she, makes me mad. And again, the wines change when you try them in different glasses. And Bobby kind of mentioned that this is our everyday Becker wine glass.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember when we were picking the wine glasses, how good the Viognier tasted out of this glass when we were picking out of 60 glasses to put in the tasting room. And I remember saying that this glass has got to be the one because it makes most of the wines taste really good, and it really does well on Viognier. So.
Have you ever had the Viognier in a glass that tasted bad?
No.
Nah.
That's why. Like you could
Because
put
it doesn't.
you could put it in a Sauvignon Blanc glass, it'd be all right.
Okay.
You could put it in Pinot Noir, it'd be all right. All that would be fine.
Paul
John,
Cooper just said.
Let me say one thing.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, Doc.
People should go back and retaste the. People should go back and retaste the 17 after it's been breeding, because it really now has a very beautiful, complex aromatic taste. I really think it's the best at the moment for me. But it's evolved just since we've had it sitting in glass here.
I have the perfect blend. 17, 18, 19.
Could be.
Okay. I like the fact that we muted Brett, though, Rachel. Stop. We know you're not on mute. Food pairings.
I'm with Margaret on this one. Asian food, and it doesn't matter the style of the Viognier, it pairs so wonderfully every day.
So, like, would you like prefer Thai, Indonesian,
Why
Korean?
do you choose?
What? All of them.
No,
Well,
I definitely.
you just named half the
spicy,
world.
I think. Tom kha soup.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay, Margaret, you're up. What food would you pair?
Well, for sure, pad thai. I love pad thai, and I think this is going to be great with that. And even like veggies, I will say we made a dish last night of carrots with a little bit of honey and a little bit of mustard and butter, and it was fabulous. That would go back great here. Carrot soup would be great here.
Mhm.
Chicken, I mean, it's endless, truly. And I was going to say too, for the last wine, the 17 wine, I think because it's a little drier for people who maybe don't want the floral or the fruit, this is a great wine for something where you want a little drier on the finish. So
I agree. Yeah, a little drier. Yeah. So Doc, what would you pair?
How about some raw oysters with this? Any kind of shellfish, mussels, and a butter sauce would be great with this. But I think almost anything. I mean, just the back porch would be good with this. So I mean,
yes.
it's hard to miss.
Do you put ketchup on the back porch, or do you just eat it plain?
I have it in mind. John, waiting for Proman to come around the bend. He's always close. So.
So Bobby, what would you pair with the
Just
Viognier?
been thinking about barbecue. Personally, maybe Rudy's barbecue.
Okay. I quite enjoy zucchini with the Viognier. So the oyster would go very well. I agree, but I like sashimi with Viognier a lot. So I think you hit the nail on the head, Margaret, earlier than Asian food. Most definitely. Viognier is very versatile. Oh, the dog water is back. Trish, I think that may be feedback from one of our speakers that you're hearing. So I apologize. We're having some inclement weather in the Hill Country, as you know. And, I've been having lag on my internet. I think it's because of the storming that's going on north of us. So,
John, you didn't ask Brett what he would pair for this, and I would like to take the opportunity to answer for him.
oh,
It's sirloin.
tenderloin.
Hey, we can put a little
You could put a little what?
some seafood on top of it. I would take a tenderloin medallion with a scallop on top of it. You know?
Oh, okay. I'm on board with that one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but Gary Clark's asking you which tenderloin.
Well, not anything but beef. You know? I mean, beef is the king of all things. You know.
Right.
Let's just do beef tenderloin and call it quits. You know. Yeah.
Perfect.
I don't like pork. Yeah.
So what, Bobby, what is on tap for next week?
So I do know that it's the 2018 Primavera. So that would be the Sangiovese from the Wine Club block. The 2017 Cabernet Franc. And I'm going to need some help from Kaylin on that last one. GSM, that's it.
Yeah.
It was a landslide for what was it? It was a vote for what are the best wines that that were out there and for the year where those were picked. So it
won by 200 votes. It wasn't just a little bit. It won by 200 votes. And,
200.
200 votes. So I think we had a total of about maybe 700 votes cast. No, we thought we'd have like 30.
Wow.
But like 700, and that GSM Cap Franc Primavera was the winner by a lot. So, and I do want to mention too that today is Nicole's birthday. That's why she's not on the broadcast.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we'll say happy birthday to Nicole. Cheers. I think she's like 26 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say 27.
It's a good year. It's a good year.
Forever.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's what we have on for next week. Any further comments before we sign off? Doc, any final words?
No, but just, this is a 30-year project to take Viognier to this level. We weren't able to grow the grapes, but we were able to make it. And other great growers in Texas made it happen. And it's very exciting for me to see 3 beautiful Viogniers with this kind of award in San Francisco. It's a great night.
I will drink to that. So wishing everybody a very wonderful week, good health, and great wine. We'll see you next week for our 1-year anniversary.
Nicole, happy birthday, Nicole. Wow.
Happy birthday.
Cheers.